Hello and welcome to a little introduction to Xero. And of course, if we're new to Xero or if we're using an existing Xero account, I would recommend doing a setup audit, by which I mean we've set up the Xero account, but actually what we should be doing is making sure that all of the setup credentials are correct and as they should be. So whether you're new, definitely do this. If you're actually setting up a new client who's already in existence, please do this as well, because actually some things may change and they may not be set up quite as they should be. So what we need to do is we need to go to the demo company. In this case, just literally select the company name and go to settings. Now under here, we will be looking at organization settings, which I'm going to open in a new tab, user settings, invoice settings, payment services, and email settings. So these 5 are the ones I would start off with. So firstly, with organization and details, just simply check that we've got the legal name and the display name correct, because these will be showing on our invoices. Likewise, also upload the logo, preferably with a transparent background, because actually it helps with the integrity of reports that are generated, and it's just so much easier rather than having to adjust things. Also check that the registration number is in place, and of course that all of the contact details are correct. So postal address, and of course telephone, email, etc., because these will be used in various merge fields throughout Xero. So please do make sure these are correct. Then I would check the users. So at the moment I've just got the one user. Because it's a demo organization, I'll only be able to see the one, and you won't be able to see how this works quite as clearly. But there'll be the option to add new users. So just check that every user you do need to access Xero has access. And most importantly, please do check what they have access to. You don't want someone to be able to access more information than required if actually it would basically upset the way that your business runs. So actually you might want a staff member to have less access than, say, a management consultant who may need more. So please do check that everyone can access all of the areas they need to in case anyone goes on holiday, and make sure that people can access just enough but not too much. So really useful if you're sharing with external parties, and please do invite them in and set them up. Now there's various ways you can customize their access in Xero when setting up a user, so please do take a note of these and set them up accordingly. Then review invoice settings, really important one here. These are the default brandings we're going to be using for our invoice templates and other documentation as well. So remittance advices, anything like that, draft invoices, quotes, all derived from here. You can set up more than one branding type, so these are the default types, and these are the custom made types as well, the docx ones. So I would recommend start off by setting up the default and then look at the docx separately if you need to add, say, terms and conditions or anything explicitly unique to your client terms and conditions and your invoice statements, etc. But just have a look in here. Make sure, most importantly, that you do have your terms in here and you do have your payment details. It can be quite painful otherwise if you send these out and then customers suddenly go back to you and you go, how do I pay? All of a sudden it's a bit annoying, especially if they ask for confirmation on letterheaded paper, which just takes up valuable time. So please do make sure this is included here. Now, if you're issuing quotes, you can rename the naming convention. In particular, draft invoice title may be handy to rename. You might not want to put draft invoice, you might want to put proforma invoice or order confirmation. So please do have a play around with the settings in here and make sure that all of your details are displaying as they should do, your logos included, etc. And just check the overall formatting is correct. Then, when you've got invoice settings set up, have a look at the payment services. This is where you can give your customers more options to pay you. So on your invoice settings, I could simply have my bank details. But the reality of the situation is actually I might want people paying me by PayPal or by credit card or even direct debit, or perhaps I have other payment services which I'd like them to use. This is where we would set them up here. So really handy. What I would say is, although you may want customers to pay purely by backs, you can do. You may actually want to give some of them an alternate option. And this is really helpful, particularly if you're trading internationally, because some companies perhaps may prefer to pay by PayPal, or you may be trading with consumers who actually would rather pay by card. So really helpful to put these in place. And also please do check your email settings for any invoices which are going out. Now, basically, you can set the custom email address. So at the moment, it's going from the logged in user. I recommend customizing this so that you can set it. You can add an email address and set it as the permanent reply to email. So it might be that you want it coming from the logged in user, but you might have a centralized account at email address, in which case, set it in place, set it as the default. So all emails come from accounts at, and most importantly, all replies go to accounts at. Otherwise, you might potentially get individuals sending out different invoices and they get the replies, and the accounts can't identify what's going on unless you start looking at the individual emails. Templates, really useful little time saver here. Not essential to change, but I would recommend it because I'm just going to have a look at the sales invoice as an example. It might just be that actually the language which Xero has defaulted to is perhaps not the language you would use. So you might want to change the mannerism in this. You might not want to end with many thanks, you might want to end with kind regards, or likewise, you might just want to change this because actually you might say, okay, here's this, this, and that. You actually get this, this, and that. You get a guarantee, etc. Really helpful to put in here. And then finally, there's actually a hidden setting. I say hidden, it's not as obvious because it's not actually under these settings. But if you go into accounting, bear in mind you do need certain user level access to do this, and go into advanced, I have another set of options, but most importantly, I have financial settings in here. This one is absolutely critical to how your business runs and how your reports represent themselves. Firstly, we've got the financial year end. Please do check this is correct. And of course, if your financial year end changes at any point in time, this is where you would overtype it to correct it to the current period. You can also enter your VAT details and your period, and of course what scheme you're on, along with your VAT number, so you can do your online submissions. So really important. And we can also set up our CIS scheme here as well if you are a registered subcontractor or a registered contractor. So really useful. And there is even the functionality to do lock dates. So this section is highly valuable when you've got accounting periods which have closed, because you can actually stop users from making changes. And please do make use of this, because what it does is it stops someone posting something in the wrong financial year and changing the numbers, which changes your brought forward figures. It just prevents errors. Really, really useful. And it basically keeps your records nice and tidy. So please do take advantage of this. So I've shown you some of the functionalities of how you can check your Xero settings. Please do review this, even if your actual Xero account is already set up, because there might be the odd item in here you think, I've not got that set up quite how I'd like, I don't like the way that's worded, or perhaps I'm not locking my accounting periods to prevent errors. So please do review these. And thank you very much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please do let us know in the comments. And likewise, if you have any queries, also please do let us know. And I hope to catch you guys again very soon. Thank you very much. Bye.